find authentic business adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. We're locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie. My name is James Kademan, entrepreneur, author, speaker, and helpful coach to small business owners across the country. Today, we're welcoming / preparing to learn from Dr. Eric Johnson, the chiropractor at Functional Wellness and Chiropractic Center. So, Dr. Eric, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. I'm doing well. I'm excited because I believe you are the first chiropractor we've had on the show.
Oh, really?
And we've been going 3 years, roughly, something like that. So, whoa!
Yeah, that's an awesome achievement.
Yeah.
But
so why don't you tell us first, where is Functional Wellness and Chiropractic Center?
it is over on the west side of Madison, pretty much right off the Beltline in Mineral Point Road.
Okay.
So if you know where the Marcus Point Theater is,
Sure.
right across the street. It's currently there. Actually, kind of thinking about moving and expanding.
Oh, really?
But we'll kind of see where that goes.
So let's lay the foundation for what kind of business you have now, and then we'll work backwards, figure out how you got here and all that jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a chiropractor, and I also am a nutritionist. So like on top of my doctorate degree, I do have a postdoctorate degree in nutrition. Also have some certifications in soft tissue therapies. And so kind of with the combination of things, I treat a wide variety of ailments, conditions, and all that stuff. Like this morning even, just working on like a lot of low back pain, neck pain, and all that stuff. But, with like the nutrition side of things, I kind of get into, I guess, more complicated issues in, like, for instance, like autoimmune conditions. This week I started seeing a new patient who is needing some help trying to get pregnant with her husband and all that stuff, and just trying to see if there's any sort of like underlying like nutritional deficiencies and all that stuff, so that they can carry a healthy child. So
very cool. And is it you, or do you have people working with you?
Just me. I'm the only therapist on staff.
Okay.
I would like to, this year I can start having like interns from Chiropractic School, so I do want to kind of bring those in and teach them, and that's kind of part of the reason why I do want to expand, is to have like other therapists like and chiropractors on staff.
Gotcha. When you say that you can start having interns, is that you have to be a chiropractor for X number of years, I imagine?
In Wisconsin, you have to be a chiropractor for 5 years in order to accept interns. So I'm officially 5 years into practice.
Whoa, that's a big deal.
As of January 1st. So
nice.
I kind of had a little celebration of of that, but just looking, just to expand and ultimately help more people. That's kind of the whole purpose of expansion.
Fair, very cool. So let's go back in the beginning. How did you decide, or why did you decide to get into the chiropractic?
Yeah, so coming out of high school, like I knew I wanted to be in the healthcare field, and so I just declared pre-med, planning on going to med school, and it wasn't until like my sophomore year of undergrad that did a bunch of job shadowing and went to clinics, hospitals, and all that stuff, and any sort of ologist out there. You name it, I probably job shadowed it, and which there's a lot of them. So just job shadow them, but didn't necessarily saw like what I envisioned like doctors doing. There was just a lot of writing prescription drugs and kind of booting people out the door in like 5 minutes, and
push them in, shove them out, kind of thing.
Yeah, and so I was just kind of thinking like weren't doctors supposed to help people, that sort of thing, and and so like I was kind of disheartened for a little bit, but I worked at the golf course in my hometown and just talking to a few members there about what I was going to do for college and all that stuff, and told them that stuff, and one of the members I was talking to is a chiropractor, and she's like, "Oh, you should come job shadow me," and so I did that following Thursday and just fell in love with it, because there's people, especially like I guess walking into general practitioners' offices, walking into the same her clinic with the same thing, but actually walking away feeling better.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
so I'm like, okay, there's something to this, and just kept job shadowing chiropractors, and ultimately deciding to switch over to the chiropractic program, which is the same program as the pre-med program, but just different advisor. And yeah, just fell in love with it, and even going into chiropractic school, I thought all chiropractors did the same thing, but I was totally wrong in that a lot of chiropractors have different techniques.
Oh.
And how they like diagnose or treat and like that sort of thing. I guess kind of an example is, if you go to med school, you can specialize in cardiology, oncology. Kind of same thing with chiropractors in that you can just kind of specialize and get certified in certain techniques. And
Really?
yeah.
All right. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I just assumed
that's
they just punch you in the back and then
that's what
charge you your money and move on with your life.
that's what I thought too. And I was even going to chiropractic school for that. So
wow. So is it like there's certain disciplines, like a martial arts thing, where there's karate and judo? Or is it like this guy has their own type of yoga kind of thing where it's people are...
Yeah, I guess you could say
coming up with their own.
Yeah, different disciplines.
Okay. And are there different certifications based on the... Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there's different, I guess you would maybe call them governing boards almost. Okay. Like there's like the International College of Applied Kinesiology, and that's, I guess, getting into some of the stuff that I do is applied kinesiology, which is more of the muscle testing stuff, but there's also like pediatrics, like Gonstead, which being in Madison, I'm sure a few people know about the clinic in Mount Horeb. NUCA, which is like more specifically in the upper cervical, and just a whole bunch. Yeah, I mean, you can get, like basic certifications of that, or you can get like a 300-hour like diplomat certification, which kind of like puts you in like rare air, so to speak, because there's only a handful of practitioners that actually do that.
Okay. Like
after their doctorate, so.
So is this to say that if someone came to a different chiropractor, or let's just say we got 3 different chiropractors, and they each specialize in their little thing, what would you call them?
Techniques.
Techniques, okay. And somebody comes to them and is like, hey, I got lower back pain. All 3 of them would do something different?
Yeah, potentially.
Really? Okay.
I mean, it just depends on the techniques that they know.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of I guess a very popular technique that is used it's called Diversified Technique, and a lot of chiropractors do know that, but there are chiropractors who have other techniques and will adjust differently. So, and I guess kind of getting into the healthcare side of things, if one chiropractor doesn't work for you, or even like massage therapist, acupuncturist, PT, like you name it, if that one practitioner doesn't work out, I would, suggest maybe trying like another one, or something that's like, say you try a chiropractor, but then like try like an acupuncturist, and
all right.
And I guess kind of like, well, this is just my personal philosophy, but I feel people should always try like the least invasive things first, and then exhaust those, and then if people aren't getting better, that's when you start moving into the more invasive things like the medications, injections, and then surgery should be, in my opinion, last resort.
I would hope that most people would agree with you.
Right? Unfortunately,
just grab the knife. Do what you need to do.
Some people just want to be hacked up and call it a day. But I mean, to each their own. So
I guess.
And that's why, I guess that's kind of why like a big part of like what I do is education, and even education and prevention, because when I see my patients, I spend time educating them of what is going on in the body. Like new patient this morning was having shoulder issues, and just trying to educate him kind of about the shoulder and, what he needs to do at least for short term of, strengthening and rehabbing the shoulder, and kind of avoiding things that would trigger that pain that he was dealing with. And, and that's a big thing that, well, I guess kind of tying it into the whole business side of things. And that's kind of one thing that has really helped my business is, the education portion of it. And that way, my patients understand that, I care, I'm invested into the best interest, and, and then they just get better.
All right. Nice.
So
with your, I guess, I have to apologize because to become a chiropractor, I mentioned there's some schooling, but are we talking 10 years, 5 years, 2 months?
No, that's a very fair question because I get asked that all the time. But in order to practice in Wisconsin, you need a 4-year undergrad, and then you need chiropractic school on top of that, which is 10 trimesters, so essentially 3.5 years.
Okay.
So, to become chiropractor, minimum 7.5 years of school.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely a time commitment for sure, but, if this is, helping people out is your passion or calling, then it's a it's the right choice.
So are you picking your school, or did you pick your school based on the discipline that school taught?
No, not necessarily.
Or do you find out about the disciplines?
Yeah, I actually
when you're $100,000 in.
that was kind of more of it. But I actually chose the chiropractic school I went to actually based off my sister.
Okay.
Because at the time she was living in the Twin Cities, and she kind of just sold me on the cities. Even she's like, "Oh yeah, you could do all this stuff like on your free time," but didn't have any free time.
Thanks, sis.
Yeah. So I ended up going there, and like definitely don't regret my choice because if it wasn't for that decision, I wouldn't be where I am today. And,
at this podcast.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Dreams do come true.
Yeah.
So tell me, it's interesting because I look at businesses of all kinds, and I look at something like chiropractic, and it seems to me that it's very common for a person to come out of school and start their own chiropractic business versus going to work for someone.
There are quite a few people who start, from scratch, right out of school. I'm one of them, but I would honestly say that my graduating class was 122 students. I'd probably say less than 15 actually opened up their own practice right away.
Oh.
Like everyone else kind of was an associate under someone, and kind of the more traditional way is, working as an associate and then, get a couple years under their belt and then kind of branch out and start their own. That sort of thing. So
typical out of the, how many did you say, 115?
122.
122, okay. So out of the 122, now that it's 5 years past that, or give or take, how many do you think are on their own? Just ballpark.
30, 40.
So it's not even
probably not even half.
Wow. Okay.
But then again, I haven't been keeping up.
I'm not holding you to it. It just seems like, I'm like, is that more business school than fixed healthcare type school? Because my outsider looking in, it seems like there's a lot of chiropractors that are just one-person shows versus a team of 20. The teams of 20 or whatever exist, but they seem to me, outsider looking in, more rare. Than the one-person shows. And it all kind of boils down to different business models too. For me, I tend to spend time, more time with patients, compared to others, and so I really don't need a whole lot of people on staff, but because for regular office visit, like right now, I spend like 20 to 30 minutes with patients. That's just like a regular office visit. For like a new patient, I usually spend 60 to 90 minutes. Okay.
Just trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Education, that's the big thing. And and kind of like what I mentioned, I'm not sure if you heard this, but like I do like soft tissue therapies as well. And that's actually kind of what takes up a lot of that 20 to 30 minutes.
Help me with what soft tissue therapy is. I understand what soft tissue is.
Yeah, it's
the therapy portion.
Yeah, it's just massage.
Okay.
So that's just trying to calm down muscles that are like firing too much, or trying to activate muscles that aren't firing too much. And that just and like right now I've been using a lot of those like massage guns.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've seen those around, but just using massage guns to kind of activate muscles and calm things down. And because ultimately, and this is I guess another philosophical thing, is that if like you don't address like the muscles, those muscles will pull things back out of alignment, and kind of keep I guess patients coming back to chiropractors. And I guess this is kind of where I guess a big thing with my business model, I guess, varies from other chiropractors, is like I'm trying to have that wow factor, and and just trying to treat patients in as little appointments as possible, rather than perhaps having them come in 3 times a week for 12 weeks, which I think is pretty standard. I see patients once a week until things start holding, and there are patients where I've only seen them once, and I don't have to see them again. But
you were the first chiropractor that I've ever talked to who didn't make it sound like chiropractic service is a forever thing.
Well, I would argue that it probably is a forever thing.
Okay.
But and I guess kind of the point that I try to educate people on is, as long as you're doing the right things, you're exercising moderately, doing the right stretches, massaging, and all that stuff, like you should be able to. Foam rolling is a big thing too. If you're doing the right things correctly, like you should actually prevent a lot of the I guess ailment, at least physical ailments, from like popping back up. And then if something that just like, there are things that just like kind of pop up and just don't go away. Like for instance, like especially right now it's mid-January. The past like 3 weeks, I've probably had 7 or 8 patients that have fallen on ice. And
tis the season, right?
Yeah, and that sort of thing, and that's when I'll get like those calls, and that's just like something you can't really like foam roll out or anything like that.
Sure.
So that's when they come see me, and and then just kind of getting back to that whole like wow factor, just having them like refer their friends and family, and that's actually the main way that I get referral. I guess get my business is through word of mouth referrals.
Okay.
And that's and I actually technically haven't spent a dime in marketing in probably 3 years. So.
Wow. So let's talk about that. When you first started your business.
Yeah.
You come out of school, you're a gazillion dollars in debt, because I imagine after 7.5 years of school.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
penny.
just the game. So you come out and you're like, I'm starting my business right away. Was that the thought process?
Well, in school, I wasn't exactly sure if I wanted to be an associate or not. And actually, the last internship that I had, I was offered a very nice contract. However, I ended up declining that because ultimately, what I ended up choosing, career-wise and business-wise, is like what's going to lead to like long-term happiness. And there was just a couple different things that I didn't necessarily see eye to eye with the guy that offered me that contract, and so I just decided to go out on my own.
Okay.
And that, I mean, that would have been nice because it would have saved me a lot of stress in the beginning, but kind of, I feel like I'm over that hump, so to speak, kind of the growing pains of a new business, and kind of on that back half where things are just going well. So
let's go day one when you're like, okay, I'm going to start my own chiropractic business. I need a space. I don't know what chiropractors have for equipment.
Yeah.
I imagine you need POS system. You need figure out hours and marketing, and just walk us through the process that you went through to start that, good and bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you know, starting out, just coming up with a name was the was the first thing, and and just getting the articles of incorporation and all that stuff. Didn't necessarily know how to do all that stuff, and so it was just kind of, I guess, utilizing like the resources I had, you know, my mentors, I guess, like the guy that I had that internship with, you know, just kind of checking, you know, oh, is this how you do things? And
so he was cool still.
Yeah, just
working with you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we still talk to this day because I mean, there are patients that I've referred, like he works up in the Twin Cities, and there's patients that,
nice.
you know, move up there, and then I refer to him, and then there are patients who move to Wisconsin and refer.
Oh, very cool.
He refers to me, so
right.
yeah, it's a very good relationship that we have. No bad blood by any means. Yeah, and just kind of making sure, you know, I'm just kind of crossing off all, like, my to-do list to kind of open up, and I guess like a big thing, probably the biggest hurdle for my business starting out was actually funding for, you know,
That's a big one.
Yeah, because, you know, I guess kind of what you figured out is, you know, coming out of school with a whole bunch of student loan debt, and not having an income, my income to debt ratio was 0, and so I tried to get, you know, some loans through like the SBA and you know, some other like nonprofit stuff, and it was just a little bit, just the way the situation was not conducive of them giving me a loan. So I actually had to take, and actually I haven't told a whole lot of people this, but like I actually,
secret safe.
But I actually ended up having to take all that like startup costs. Like I put on like 2 credit cards and like a line of credit, but that was just one of those things where like I knew like I was gonna make it, and it's just
that's the game.
Yeah, it was a matter of if, but when, and you know, I knew that I was gonna work hard enough to it, because like sometimes there are people who don't work hard enough, because you know, I was putting in 60, 70 hours a week minimum, you know, especially starting out, and it's a time commitment, and you have to sacrifice a lot of things, but I mean, it's just something that I had to do to, you know, kind of like that long-term happiness, you know, and there was definitely like a lot of downs, but there was also some ups, you know, in the beginning, and you know, and there was even a time there, I remember it was that first August in 2017 that I didn't even see a patient for 3 weeks. And so that was
just staring at the phone.
Yeah, that was just, you know, kind of despite, you know, all the marketing stuff and networking that I was doing, it just, you know, wasn't, you know, panning out, but eventually, you know, that's when patients started filing in, and yeah, and I think kind of a big lesson from that is, you know, just keep working hard, stay patient, try not to get overwhelmed, and definitely don't quit. Yeah, because I mean, if you're doing the right things, have a good product or service, and you keep working hard, I really do think the business will eventually come.
So what, from a marketing point of view, what ended up working?
It was,
if anything.
Yeah, it was a lot of more of the like face-to-face stuff. Because with chiropractic, it is a very, I guess intimate business, where I literally lay hands on people, and there has to be a certain level of trust, and people tend to do business more with people that they trust than they don't. So just getting, like, just having people getting to know me was the biggest thing. And, you know, I joined some networking groups and all this stuff. And even with like those networking groups, it wasn't like, I remember this first one that I joined, it took a year and a half for the first person to actually refer business
Wow.
to me. But it's kind of funny, once that first person, like that was in that group, went and came and saw me, they actually raved about what I did, and then I ended up pretty much seeing the entire group.
Oh, nice.
So it's just kind of that thing where, just
planting seeds and wait for them to grow.
Yeah, and then eventually it'll.
All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. The credit card thing, I mean, I get, in the end, that's a tool.
Yeah.
And if you use it wisely,
yeah,
it can serve you. If you don't use it wisely,
yeah, for sure. And
well, it'll cause more tools to show up, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, and that's the thing is I didn't, go on vacations or anything like that. It's everything was dedicated towards that business.
Sure, just that extreme focus.
Yeah, and that's what needed to be done in my situation, for sure. And because I mean, if I would have gotten that initial $50,000 to $60,000 loan, things would have been a lot easier. But then again, I also wouldn't have learned some of the things that I know now. So,
all right.
So it's a blessing and a curse, I guess.
Sure, right.
I guess, and it's always a matter of perspective. So
is it typical for chiropractors that get out of school, the 30 or whatever, that start their own gig, to just either find a rich uncle or a rich aunt or credit card it?
I mean, there are some people who try to find some seed money too, but I just didn't feel that was the right situation for me.
Sure.
So, and like I said before, I'm just doing things that I thought would bring long-term happiness.
All right.
So,
very cool. Well, you made 5 years so far, so
yeah,
that's super cool.
Yeah, things are going great. I'm just staying busy.
How did you end up in Madison from the Twin Cities?
Yeah, I had a few friends down here, and I was always familiar with Madison growing up. I grew up in Toma, which is
gotcha. Okay.
about an hour and a half north of here. Guess it depends on how fast you drive.
Yeah, right.
But just kind of familiar with the area, and I knew that Madison was a very health conscious, active city, and I just thought that it would just be a good fit, especially with the nutrition side of things.
All right. So the goal was to come down to Madison to start your practice rather than come to Madison for whatever other reason.
Yeah.
You specifically don't start the new gig in Twin Cities.
Yeah.
Start it in Madison.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. All right. So this is probably a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
Because you're moving into a town where you know a few people, but not a ton.
Yeah. And it was, especially that initial business side of things. A lot of it, was kind of off, the fruit of my labor, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of uphill battles, but if you keep working hard, staying patient, and don't quit, it'll pay off. So,
all right.
So
how did you choose the location for your place?
I was just driving. I know that and this is how much business experience I had. I didn't even know really about commercial real estate agents, but
it's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, but I was just driving around, and I just came across a building that I thought would be a good situation. Called up the landlord, and I'm like, "Can I look at this space at this address?" And he's like, "What are you?" I'm like, "Chiropractor." He's like, "Oh, how about you look at this other spot that I have?" So I went there and ended up going with that location that he suggested, just because I didn't have to do any build out.
Oh, nice.
So being taking everything out on a credit card, that was kind of a
little money saver.
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
I get it.
But it worked out too, because that location is close to the Beltline, which is easy to access, and I actually do have quite a few patients that travel in from out of town. I've got a good amount of patients from Monroe, Wisconsin Dells, Baraboo, Watertown,
oh wow,
Milwaukee even.
So you're covering a pretty wide berth there.
Yeah.
So are you in the same spot that you were when you first started?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it must have worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
That's cool. How has your business changed from when you first started it to now?
The biggest, I would say probably the biggest changes is actually the way I do, I guess, kind of the therapies that I do.
Okay.
And it's just, I mean, I was taught certain things and learned a whole bunch of stuff because, well, I guess kind of a whole other thing too is like while I was going to chiropractic school, I was going to a lot of like continuing education seminars and, learning, I guess, how to be a better clinician. And so like I kind of had like a foundation, but, just kind of spending time and just trying to figure out, what was the best way to like test things out and, adjust patients and, what ultimately leads to the best outcome. And that was the thing that actually probably changed the most because like I think even initially like I was spending like upwards of an hour with patients just for like a regular office visit, but
All right.
just trying to, I guess, get my feet wet and like kind of have a process, so to speak.
It's interesting. 'Cause my first impression of chiropractors was with my dad. I was, I don't know, 6th, 7th grade, something like that. I remember he had his own business, milk delivery, so it's heavy stuff. And I remember he was like, I got to stop at the chiropractor. And he pulls into this parking lot. I wait in the delivery truck. And I don't even know if he was in there 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what did they do to you in 5 minutes? Did you even get checked in?
Yeah.
So I'm used to the doctor where they got to go through that whole dog and pony show of like, we got to weigh you and check your height. I always think, what would you have to see for this to cause concern? It just seems showy.
Yeah. Well, initially, you're supposed to get all that stuff, but, for regular office visits, you don't necessarily have to. But
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
But it's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, like that was including him walking to the place.
Yeah. I mean,
It was just a bizarre,
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was good.
Yeah. I mean.
I would probably guess not.
Well, it's. I mean, that very well could have, treated the situation.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's how I always say, punch in the back. So I'm like,
Yeah.
by the time he actually got in front of the chiropractor, he's got 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
Just a weird bam.
Yeah, and that kind of boils down to just the differences of how people practice.
All right.
Because like I've job shadowed some chiropractors who like don't really talk to patients and they just, do their adjustments and kind of send them on their way, which
They don't talk to them?
not really.
That seems weird to me.
Yeah. I mean, and that's
We don't talk to our customers
yeah,
here.
yeah. That's just the way some chiropractors have done it, and I mean, it's worked out for them, but
I guess. All right.
it's not going to work out for me, I
That
guess.
seems like a different bed manner
Yeah.
thing, because I would imagine, without having gone to doctor school of any kind, that there's an emotional connection
Yeah, for
when
sure.
you're trying to heal someone
Yeah.
that maybe isn't necessarily tangible,
Yeah.
but it certainly helps. I'm sure there's studies that say something in that
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean, bedside manner is always important. Just I guess getting patients on board, because if you're rude to them, I guess this is kind of worst case scenario. If you're rude to them and talking down to them and all this stuff, they're probably not going to listen to you and and kind of follow through with your suggested treatment plan. But if you kind of come from the approach that you're on their healthcare team, you're working with them, you're not authoritarian or anything, and you've got their best interests in mind, they are more likely to listen to you and follow through on your treatment and do like the stretches and exercises, because it's just kind of funny how there are patients who the patients that get better quickly are the ones that actually listen to me, because there are patients who just don't do stretches and exercises, and
All right.
I'll call them out, just be like, oh, how's the glute bridges doing or whatever. They're just like, oh, it's doing great. I'm like, can you just show me how to do it? And they're just like, yeah, I haven't been doing it. And it's just like, I can kind of pick up on that because, the stuff that they were dealing with, it keeps coming back. But, if you're doing the right things, it should eventually like slowly get better.
Right.
But
I feel that way about business coaching. When you talk to someone, you give them some things to do, and then they're like, hey, Still having the same problems. Like, did you do the steps? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just the reality of things. And so like, and I guess kind of going back to that original point is, just having a good bedside manner, kind of helps out with outcomes ultimately. And better outcomes, the way I look at it is more people is going to refer, the friends and family and just kind of organically grow your business. So yeah, that's kind of the way I've always approached things and looked at things. So
interesting. Okay. What do you see for the future of your business?
Yeah.
What would you like?
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole lot of ideas that I have, but
let's say the next 3 years, right? 5 years is a long ways to think of down the road. So let's say 3 years.
Yeah.
Perfect world.
Yeah. I'd like to have at least one chiropractor that's an associate, new space with more room, more therapies, and I'm at my space right now. I don't really advertise it, but because I am a one-man show still, but like I do have like a few other therapies, like an infrared sauna, like a pulsed EMF mat, and just like a cold lasers, and.
Man, I swear you just spoke Chinese to me.
Yeah.
First, what is a cold laser?
Cold laser, they're just lasers that have like a specific wavelength and just don't heat up. The one that I have in particular has some clearances of reducing inflammation and reducing pain.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely the most expensive
piece of equipment, I imagine? Okay.
Equipment that I have in my office right now, but that has helped with patients with car accidents, headaches, and just a whole bunch of other stuff.
So they go into this machine, lay down, I imagine?
Well, the laser is actually a handheld thing that I just you can get like stands and stuff, but like you just shine it over the affected area. And
so you still have to be present for that.
But the reason I don't do that a whole lot is I'm busy adjusting, massaging and all that stuff, the stuff that is kind of like the bread and butter of my business. And I've kind of accumulated these other therapies for when like I do expand area wise and like and I have some help that they can attend to other patients and and advertise, because just like right now I'm just swamped with seeing patients, and
that's a good thing,
the chiropractic side of things.
That's a good thing. Tell me about the mat that you mentioned.
Yeah, it's just a mat that you lay on, turn on, and it just helps increase blood flow, which helps healing. And
does it vibrate, or what is it?
Nope, just heats up, and you just lay on it.
Okay. So that you don't have to be there.
Yeah, and that I can actually rent out. Like people can take that home and.
All right.
Yeah, so like if they had, knee surgery and they're looking to, doing anything to help kind of recover as quick as possible, just rent out that EMF mat and just kind of help increase circulation, which helps healing and all that stuff.
EMF must stand for something cool, I imagine.
Yeah, electromagnetic force.
Okay.
And it's a certain wave and kind of pulses, and the way that it works, it just increases blood flow and healing.
So something you have to plug in?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just a standard 120 volt outlet.
All right.
So
interesting. Okay. That's very cool.
Yeah, and there's some other stuff that I want to get, but I just don't have the timer space.
All right.
For it,
so with adding another associate, you have to expand the square footage that you're in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they would require another treatment room, which I don't have.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of the main thing.
All right.
This is just that extra treatment room or two.
So I can't believe you're in the same space that you were in originally, because that's, one, that means that the broker that you talked with was apparently pretty smart, or he got you in a 5-year lease.
Yeah.
Maybe both, but.
Yeah, it was a good call on his part for sure. And I mean, and I was even thinking about moving and expanding like this last year or kind of last year and a half, but with the whole COVID stuff.
Yeah, things changed.
Yeah, it's just didn't know what the future held, and
Right.
just
Nobody does, right?
yeah, just didn't want to bite off more than I can chew,
Right.
so to speak. So I just kind of played it more on the conservative side, and keeping things small, I guess.
Okay. How do you find associates, or how will you find an associate? Because I imagine you got to get same culture, so they're cool that way. Plus, you have to know that they're good at what they do, because that's the reputation of your business on the line.
Yeah, and probably the easiest way that I'll kind of hire that is, I go to continuing education seminars quite often. Like I'm going to one in 3 weekends, and up in the Twin Cities where I went to school. And during that seminar, I'm just going to make an announcement, anyone who's looking for a job potentially, in the future.
Oh, nice.
Because that seminar is going to be tailored towards that applied kinesiology stuff, so that technique that I do.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of a lot of like-minded individuals in one spot, and so it's just kind of some in-house marketing, so to speak.
That seems genius. Maybe we have to do that for every industry. Have continuing education where half the point is to find people that you want to hire.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked out for my other colleagues.
Yeah.
So I'm just assuming it's going to work for me.
That's cool.
Knock on wood. So.
That's cool. Yeah, right? What do you see, I guess, what is the goal of the business 10, 20 years down the road? Will you just run with it until you retire?
Yeah.
Or build it up to take over the world and then hang out on your yacht? Or?
I don't see myself fully retiring because I really love treating patients. I like to think I'm good at it.
They probably do too, so that's cool.
But I envision having my own building, maybe renting out some office space to maybe a dentist, that sort of thing. But
all right.
Just having a lot of different practitioners, not even not only chiropractors, but maybe an acupuncturist, couple massage therapists, PT, nurse practitioner even, or even a medical doctor, maybe that specializes in some sort of PRP therapy, which is a protein-rich platelet therapy, which kind of helps lay down fibroblasts, which helps kind of solidify ligaments and all that stuff. That's, I guess, kind of a basic overview of that, and just kind of being a one-stop shop, so to speak, with a lot of ailments out there, and that's kind of why I did all the training that I've done, is because I want, I guess, people to come see me kind of no matter what they're dealing with. So so just having a multidisciplinary clinic. Would like to have a nice gym/yoga studio attached to it, because I feel like if people are exercising consistently and increasing their flexibility also, that prevents a lot of injuries. Because honestly, if everyone, I think, did some resistance training 3 days a week and did some yoga 3 days a week and have that rest day, I think I would be out of business, to be honest. So
I think you're safe.
Yeah,
I think you're safe.
Yeah, there's a long road to go until that point. So, but yeah, I really do think if people do that, they would not need me.
I would love to say that would happen. To say that would happen, especially since I just saw our health insurance costs for my company.
Yeah.
I feel like we could fix this a little.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't believe there's any fear of that happening.
I think there's some good job security.
Yeah.
with what I'm doing. So
sucks, but whatever.
Yeah, it's just the reality.
Yeah, here we are. Here we are. That's interesting. What are some of the things that you've learned from when you first started your business to now that you're like, oh my gosh, how did I not know that? From a business point of view, starting your own.
Yeah.
Or maybe some things that you wish you would have known back when you first started.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who, I guess, marketing companies that, I guess, are trying to go after your money, and
Arguably most.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's, I think I should have done a lot better job of researching, that company and kind of seeing the results that they got.
Sure.
Because
you threw some money at a marketing company, and
yeah, a couple, and
they
just
didn't pan out.
yeah.
All right.
So, and other advertising ventures that just money down the drain, which, yeah, it's a learning curve, but
Advertising is one of those things where it's an investment that you hope it pays off, but you're gambling.
Yeah, there isn't directly like a correlated ROI, because there's even like I'm getting patients from like some speaks that I've done like my second year into practice that I just started seeing. So like,
wow.
Yeah, it's
All right.
and like buying Chipotle, that one time, it's just like, oh, I thought I wasn't going to get anything returned out of that, but turns out I did. So
Weird.
3 years later, so
you just have your business card on the refrigerator for years. They're like, today's the day.
Yeah, I think it was just a matter of just trying to make a good impression on them. Because like everyone, well, not everyone that I run into is looking for a chiropractor or in need of a chiropractor, but if you make a good impression on them, say they do fall on the ice, hopefully that I made that good impression to the point that I'm the first person that they call.
Right. Very cool.
So yeah.
Awesome.
That's kind of what worked out. So.
How can people find you?
Best way, just my website, which is fwchiro.com.
Okay.
Or just Google my business, Functional Wellness and Chiropractic Center.
Awesome.
I've got some social media profiles out there like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Just searching for me or my clinic is probably the easiest way.
All right. Is it tough to keep up with all that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and kind of the social media side of things, since I'm kind of busy doing other stuff, I probably don't post as much as probably what I should, but...
Don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. I was just thinking about that today. Like 10 years ago, you didn't have to really care about that. 10, 15, I don't know, whatever. It's been a while. These companies came around, love them or hate them. It was like, hey, business owner, here's one more thing that you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, eventually something's got to give. Something's got to sacrifice. Because 10, 15 years ago, business owners weren't like, I got an extra 10 minutes a day. It's not being utilized. And then social media came around. We're like, well, there goes that 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? They were busy back then.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs had a lot going on. They still do.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I was just thinking today, like, posting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it. Both ways, both directions. I understand it.
Yeah, and the big thing with like social media is like you need to stay consistent on that. And the thing is just just being me. There's definitely times where I'm just busy and swamped and just can't stay up on it. So
yeah.
You need to kind of have that dedicated person, and especially planning out, kind of like your social media campaign. That is a big thing. But yeah, it can be a lot, but there are people who do that, and that's actually a main driver of their business. And
all right.
So and that's just kind of the everyone just has there's certain drivers in their difference, I think.
Sure.
And, for some people it's social media, and others, like mine, is word of mouth referrals is still a big thing, and Google is another big thing.
All right.
I would say that's probably number 2 that people
Would you say ads or more search engine optimization type stuff?
SEO stuff.
Okay.
So, just making sure that you have a good Google presence, because Google is kind of taking over.
They're pretty powerful.
Yeah.
They have some control.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely big influence on who sees your business or and whatnot.
Very true. Very true. Cool. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks
this
for having
is cool. Remind me again of the website?
fwchiro.com.
fwchiro.com. All one word, no spaces.
Right.
Easy enough. Cool. Oh, what do we got going on here? This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. Excuse me, we are underwritten locally by the Bank of Sun Prairie. If you're listening or watching this on the web, if you could do us a huge favor, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and of course comment below for any questions that you may have for myself or Dr. Eric here. My name is James Kateman, and Authentic Business Adventures is brought to you by Calls on Call, offering call answering and receptionist services for service businesses across the country on the web at callsoncall.com. As well as Draw In Customers Business Coaching, offering business coaching services for entrepreneurs looking for growth on the web at drawincustomers.com. And of course, the Bold Business Book, a book for the entrepreneur and all of us, available wherever fine books are sold. We'd like to thank you, our wonderful listeners, as well as our guest, Dr. Eric Johnson, the chiropractor of Functional Wellness and Chiropractic Center. Dr. Eric, what's the website one more time?
fwchiro.com.
All right, how about a phone number?
608-203-9272.
Awesome. Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night. The podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. Thank you for watching and listening. We'll see you next week. I want you to stay awesome. And of course, enjoy your business.